Inside of today's video, we're going to be looking at 10 reasons as to why you'd still probably suck in Brawl Stars, whether you're an established player or whether you're actually just a typical random. I'll be giving you ways on how to correct it as well. Okay, so the first thing that actually annoys me the most in the game right now, which I know maybe not all of you guys do this, but whenever I play with randoms, this is probably my biggest pet peeve. It's the fact that you go tick on game modes outside of bounty and knockout. Like, it's so annoying. Do not try this at home because it's the most frustrating thing ever. Like, especially in hot zone, for example, you might feel like tick is a good outside brawler, but you know, he might keep people back away from the zone, but then eventually they'll just overwhelm the tick. It can be just so annoying, especially as somewhat of a pro player right now, just to see this. I feel like it's just a key mistake that people make, especially when they first start playing Brawl Stars. Again, you just get so easily overwhelmed. Just one, maybe like missed a shot, and there's just no chance you have in a game. You can see here, like, I'm actually doing all right in terms of damage, but I'm not really helping the team out. I'm just tickling these guys, and there's not really any chance for us to kind of win this game. And this kind of stems into my second point as well. It's regarding tick as well. It's the fact that people think that heal gear is actually effective on tick. Like, it's just not. Like, maybe it heals you up quicker, but the thing about tick is that the synergy with his star power is already so good. He doesn't need the heal gear to really help him out. Like, the fact that you can just use the well-leveled star power, he's going to top you up that extra HP anyway. And just to kind of wait, you kind of have that 1v1 battle. I feel like you just really don't need the heal gear. So of course, that is one thing that just really grinds my gears. So do not play tick on game modes outside of knockout and bounty, and just stop using the pointless gears on tick. Don't use the health gear. Use gears like shield and also the mythic gear. That's going to help you out a lot. Next thing that really annoys me, specifically in Power League, is when my teammates just insta-lock a brawler. They don't like look at the draft and maybe look at ways to counter it. Maybe this is like below mythic impossible. Like, they just literally, just like this guy right here, just insta-locking a brawler, especially if they're bad, and it is just so annoying to like play with. A lot of times it's unwinnable. Maybe, you know, can get away with it, for example, if this guy has a really high level spike and he's up against some worse players. But this is just one thing that really annoys me, specifically in Power League. The thing about Power League, there's actually a fine line between kind of playing your comfort brawlers and then just outright picking a brawler that can get countered so easily. Just like this guy on my team. Like, fortunately enough, we're able to well, he actually gets a double kill in the end, but he was pretty terrible throughout and was able to carry him pretty well. But for me, it's just so annoying when people are just insta-locking brawlers to kind of want to have fun with. You may as well just go on ladder if that is the case. So the next reason you still probably suck at Brawl Stars, I've been trying to teach people this for years, literally years on my channel, but still people don't understand it. So it's, of course, not just running it aimlessly into like every single matchup. Like, of course, this will probably kind of resonate with brawlers that have like a lot of counters, maybe more so like assassin brawlers out there. That this can be really annoying, you know, if your random Mortis is just constantly going into a Shelly or a Surge or something like that, that's just going to get deleted every single time. It's just so annoying. Making sure that you at least try and get to your most favorable matchup. Like, maybe in this scenario, I don't really have a lot of favorable matchups out there, but I know for sure that Tara's probably a better matchup than Surge, for example. So I'll be trying to follow the Tara, of course, until she gets super. Just knowing your matchups, of course, is pretty hard, especially in Brawl Stars when there's now 69 brawlers in the game, to perfectly know every single matchup and get every single kind of decision right. But it's all about just trying to, you know, up the odds in your favor as much as possible. And of course, this can really help in a lot of different ways. So again, like, I try and make as many videos as possible, and we'll be doing a video on this pretty soon on the best matchups for every single brawler, so at least you guys can start to learn. But as I said, this will just come as well, especially from playing the game a ton as well, getting used to a lot of different matchups. But again, I just get so frustrated when people just don't know, like, they're just losing a matchup over and over again, and they just keep running into the same brawlers. That is probably the most frustrating thing for me in Brawl Stars. Okay, so we have the next really annoying point, and one reason why you still probably suck in Brawl Stars is the fact that you go the wrong build. So, of course, there's maybe a few factors to this, right? You might not have every star power, you might not have every gadget in the game, but when, you know, in Power League, when you can literally see what gadgets and star powers your teammates have, you know, it can be really annoying when your teammate, for example, like a good one, which I don't really see too often anymore, but what I used to see quite often is like people go in the healing star power on a map with a lot of grass. Like, why would you go the healing style power when Rutan, sorry, can give you so much value in scouting out the opponents? You know, it can be really annoying. So of course there's some scenarios as well where, depending on the map, there may be a better star power and gadget and your teammate just doesn't want to go that. So some other glaringly obvious ones as well, you know, like I mentioned earlier with Tick, like people go the other Tick gadget, I forgot what it's even called, the Mind Mania. Like, it's absolutely terrible, but people just persist with it and just think it does something, but it really doesn't. So of course I'm going to plug my video there where I go through all the best gadgets and star powers in the game to give you the best chance of winning. But again, maybe everyone doesn't have every single star power and gadget, so I'll cut you guys a little bit of a slack. So the next point I want to make in the terms of what mistakes a lot of people really make and why you still probably suck at the game is knowing when to go passive and when to go aggressive. So whenever, again, I'm playing ladder, it just seems to me that specifically every single random I play with just wants to go aggressive 24/7. Like, I get the play style of passive is a little bit boring sometimes, but a lot of the times it can be a lot better, especially when you kind of want to wait to make a calculated play. You know, of course you can go aggressive, you know, due to the fact that maybe the opponents have wasted all of their ammo or they're not close to super. Like, that's a good time to kind of judge your aggression and go in, but there's just so many scenarios where people just go in ridiculously and then you're down in a bad scenario. Like, I can think of good situations like this in Bounty and Knockout, for example, because those are the game modes where you probably want to play more passive than aggressive, and you know, people just give away the lead in Bounty for no reason, for example, or in Knockout when it's a 3v3 moment and then your teammate just kind of wanders off down the other lane and just dies. Like, in Knockout, it's just so essential to stay alive. So it's all about kind of matching. Like, of course you need to go aggressive in some ways and try and create some pressure, but at the same time, in the right scenario, you need to know when to support. And another good example of this, actually, I'll actually show a graph which someone like a pro player made on Twitter, which perfectly sums up one point as well. It's a mistake that people make a lot of times, you know, some really open maps, is that when they're actually kind of low, what they actually tend to do is kind of group up around you, and it like more often than not, it actually results in you getting pinched and you getting taken down instead of just maybe your teammate dying. So instead of one person dying, two people die. Instead, you're supposed to kind of sit back, kind of just keep your match up, maybe just run back and heal up and stay down your lane. But some people just kind of, they think, oh yeah, let's run to help, maybe this guy can help me out, but instead it just ends up with two people getting pinched and two people dying. So that is just a good pro tip right there. All right guys, jumping into the last kind of four here, kind of generalizing quite a few in the same kind of manner, because I asked you guys on Twitter and you guys kind of had the same thoughts as me. So the first one, well, the first one of this game is actually going to be about giving up before the match actually ends. So this is probably the most common one in terms of what a lot of you guys relate with. You know, I think I don't really need to say, like, don't just give up if you just, you know, spawn in a couple of times and die and then blame, of course, your teammates. Like, that is just not good. Like, if you want to rage, just rage, like, after the game. Just delete the app or whatever you need to do, close the app after the game. Don't ruin the experience for everyone and just give up. Just literally like this, Shelly. I mean, it doesn't actually happen as often as this at the trophy range I'm at, but you can just see here the Shelly has just literally given up over one goal. Like, we can easily win this game, but the Shelly, for whatever reason, just gives up, and it just makes me rage. Okay, so jumping into the final 3 points as to why you still probably suck at Brawl Stars. The next one is going to be, it is really annoying, this happens a lot more than you realize, even with the good players, is when you have like a super that takes a long time to build up, or just any super at all really, and say you're in like a powerful position, you're about to make a really good play, and then your teammate just passes you the ball, and then your super just goes to NASA, it just goes to Narnia, and then you waste your super, it makes you look dumb, and it actually ends up like losing you the game. Like, people do this way more often than you probably think. It is just so annoying. Like, of course the odd mistake may happen, but I feel like people just actually do it on purpose. Like, it's so annoying, especially the biggest one has to be Tara. Like, I'm in a really powerful position, about to get a double pull, and then they just pass you the ball and your super goes straight to them. It's quite funny. And then the next one is actually playing the playing for kills and deaths instead of playing for the objective. So this is more common on game modes, I would say. Maybe like Gem Grab, for example, or maybe a Brawl, where maybe they care more about their KD, but instead they should be trying to play the objective. So it doesn't really matter. Like, I mean, maybe you get memed and so on, but it doesn't really matter if you're like 0 and 11. Actually, this matters the most on heist. Doesn't matter if you're 0 and 11. Like, if you won the game and got a lot of pressure for your team and ended up making the difference, then of course your KD doesn't matter. Like, it literally doesn't matter. You know yourself that you've got a lot of pressure and got a lot of damage onto the heist safe. You know, literally, I fell for so many examples where, specifically on like Hot Potato last season, where the enemy team literally didn't get a kill, but then I still lost because my teammates were just farming their KD, killing them over and over again. Of course, they're going to keep killing them over and over again. The main objective is to deal damage to the heist safe, so please just do that next time. And the last one for me, which I might just create a video about when I got a little bit more time, is it's more sort of game sense, but I feel like people don't actually do this enough. Like, people are quite lazy with the way they juke, right? I think that people don't move like unpredictable. People are just too predictable with their movement. They're kind of slow. They kind of move around like this in the game. For me, you need to practice kind of juking and having the wiggles. Like, a good example of this is a brawler like Max. Practice having the wiggles, practice moving around a lot, being unpredictable in your movement, and it's actually going to take you a long way in the game, specifically if you're in a sniper 1v1. So those are the 10 reasons as to why you still suck in Brawl Stars. Let me know whether you have any more reasonings or whether randoms really annoy you in the comment section below and how they annoy you.